Welcome back to Winning the Game of Life. I'm your host Shawn Chhabra. Today I'm featuring a very special guest. She's an author, publisher, grandmother. Her name is Kim Gosselin. Welcome to the show, Kim. How are you doing today?
Oh, thank you so much, Shawn. I'm just delighted to be here.
How about we start, like you tell us a little bit of your background, taking us back all the way when you had your kids or high school age or wherever you want to start, and then we'll lead from there.
Well, it's a long way back. It goes all the way back to the early 90s when my children were, they were 2 and 5, and we had just moved to St. Louis. And within 6 months of our move, they were both diagnosed with chronic conditions. So not knowing anything about publishing or writing books even, I remember vividly being in the hospital and waking up one night when my son was in there and saying that I was going to write about this and something good was going to come from it. Now, I don't know where that came from because I wasn't a writer, but shortly thereafter I wrote a book to help educate his peers. And basically I wanted to help educate them about what his condition was and how they could help them. And in a nutshell, I wanted to help prevent bullying before bully was a buzzword, so to speak. And that turned into a successful publishing business. And I ended up writing 16 titles and publishing a total of 25 books. Other mothers wrote me and asked, could you write a book for my daughter who had cerebral palsy, or could you write a book for my son who had autism? And these were other mothers who had children with chronic conditions just like I did. And so that's how the business came to be. And it went on for about 7 or 8 years until it just became growing too fast and too much for me to handle with taking care of my children. So I relinquished the rights to a New York publishing house, although I retained the copyrights. And I took some time off and got my children through high school and their universities. Eventually they of course, finished school and went on and got jobs and married and started having children themselves. And flash forward, it's been 15 years, and suddenly they started having children themselves. And I found a new inspiration. I went from having 1 grandchild to 5 within 1 year. And so I just found a new passion, a new inspiration, and my one daughter-in-law was expecting twins. So spending a lot of time with her and watching her belly grow and feeling that belly. She let me put her hand on her tummy and literally watching the waves move. I began to think, well, what would those little babies do inside? What are they thinking? What are they feeling? I mean, who's to say? Who's to know? And so that's how Babies of Two came about. And so I started a new company called Rocking Chair Press. And it's to create and produce quality books for children and parents and grandparents and generations to share. And I'm very excited about it. And Babies of Two is the first book in a series. So we're looking forward to carrying that on and see what happens. It was just released on Kindle at Amazon.com, and the print version should come out in December.
But you started your original writing and publishing journey before even Amazon era and before this digital marketing. Is it true?
Yes. I mean, people tell me now that I was kind of the pioneer in indie publishing. But I mean, at that time, I did not know. And now I thank God that I did not know, because it was really strictly passion that drove me. I mean, people used to say, oh, in your dreams, Kim, this is never going to happen. It's not going to work. But my ears were just shut to all of that negativity, Shawn. Nothing would stop me. I was going to do it, and I worked day and night. Besides taking care of my kids, my husband traveled with his job, probably 4 nights a week plus weekends, and it was not easy. But again, nothing was going to stop me. I took care of the kids, and I worked nonstop until I got the job done. And
So let me stop you right there. I got a question popping up. When you have negativity all around, when people think this won't work, that won't work, so a lot of my listeners and viewers, they may be on the fence and they may not be taking action because of negativity. They may not have courage to come over that fear. How you was really, can you get in details how you was still able to move forward and take action? In the mindset I'm talking, like it's not easy when people around, like, they think, let us say in your case, they think you won't be able to write or get published, or you won't be able to run a publishing business or anything like that. So when there are negativity around, how can you, like, not just sit back and quit everything? How you were able to, like, create a positive mindset to take the action?
Well, back then I definitely couldn't get published. I mean, the only route was vanity publishing or going through a traditional publisher. And I did send out my little manuscript, and of course I got lots of rejections. They all said good things about it, but they said there wasn't enough market. But as a consumer myself, with a little child who needed this book, I knew they were wrong because I was a consumer. So I had to find a way to get the book out there. And again, there wasn't indie publishing. There weren't any computers. There wasn't Amazon.com. So I had to find a way to make it work. And with the support of my husband, simply by saying, yes, you can go borrow some money at a little financial company, because I didn't have a business plan. I didn't know what that was. And I think interest rates were 18% at that time. But all I needed to borrow at that time was $1,500. And that was enough to, start me. And I wrote the book. It was just on poster boards. I took it to his class, and to my surprise, his classmates had raised their little hands and had questions for me. So I left that day knowing that I made a difference, and they understood, and they wanted to help, and they accepted him. They accepted his condition, and they wanted to know more. So I knew I was onto something. So what I did from there, Shawn, was I researched at the library, and then I went to Walgreens, and I looked on the back of products that my son used to find out names of companies. And I wrote them down on a legal pad, and I wrote to these companies and gave them my idea. And it took about 6 months, and one finally took the bait. And I met with them, and right before Christmas, they ordered 15,000 copies. So I was able to go to print with that little book. All I had was a concept of a sketch for the cover and my little stick figure book. But I was able to go to print and print their 15,000 copies with a split run for probably, I think I did 5,000 copies of my own, and got a distributor and started advertising in the catalog, and then I had my publishing company. So that was my formula. I marketed to pharmaceutical companies for all of my books. A lot of them I pre-sold before they ever went to print, but that's what I tried to do. I tried to pre-sell, if at all possible, and do a split run, so I had my own copies for my company, as well as the customized copies for the pharmaceutical company. And I would go to the press at maybe 3 in the morning for press checks to make sure everything was perfect for the pharmaceutical company, because if it wasn't, I wouldn't have, another order from them. And that's what I did. I ended up selling about 3 million copies of books.
Wow, but like I'm so surprised. Like even at that time when there was not this much like a digital marketing and everything, you was able to find the niche, and then you was able to find the right consumer or right companies, like those pharmaceutical companies. They are not in publishing or book business, but they are the one you explain them like they can use this book and give away or use as a additional material for their whatever
It
stuff.
was interesting, Shawn, because of course they all had advertising agencies, but none of them were consumers. So the concept did not exist for them.
Yeah, you
Even
just
the marketing directors, were not quite sure. But once I got a meeting with them, the light bulb just went off, and they were looking at a consumer, and they're like, "Wow, this could be great." And once they got the books, it just went gangbusters.
No,
it just went gangbusters every time.
Hats off to you. I mean, it's all your creativity. You are the one who found the niche, who found the way to reach them and do that.
Well, I always say, and I still say, if it weren't for my children, I never would have written a word. So God works in mysterious ways. A lot of those titles are still in print today. And I thank God for the company that bought me, that they're still in print and they're still helping other children.
Yeah, so in other words, like this became a business, but no matter what, you help the community, you help those children who need help.
Yes. And again, it's not, I don't look at it as me. I look at it as my children. I mean, sometimes I think of it as my kids were sacrificial lambs, but they had a purpose on earth.
It's very nice. What a journey, So is anyone else in your family in publishing or something, or none of your kids or anybody, right?
Oh, they probably all think I'm crazy. But I don't know. I had a theater background in college, and I always had a vast imagination. I remember my mother telling me as a little girl, "Oh my gosh, Kim, you have such a huge imagination." So I'm sure that helped me when it came time to write. The world works in strange ways. I'm sure that helped me later on in life. I mean, at the time, I never would have guessed, where that would take me, but it definitely helped me, I'm sure. Because when you write and you create characters, at least I do, I definitely put myself in the role of those characters.
So how much do you plan to grow this new company? Like last time you were able to grow so quickly. So do you have any dreams or plans?
I do have dreams and plans. Of course, I'm a dreamer. I'm a writer. That's what I do. I'm lucky in that I have a wonderful collaborator in my illustrator, Elisa Bazile, and she has done just fabulous, wondrous watercolor illustrations with babies of 2. And she's on board to collaborate with me to make Babies of 2 a series. And we're anxious to see where these babies will go. What will they do, and how will they grow? And we would like to bring other multiples in, and who knows? We'll see what happens. But we definitely want to make it a series and carry it through. So I don't know if we'll do 2 books a year, 3 books a year. We'll just see what happens. We're excited, though. We're very excited.
Do you have any plans to interview and make the books on their parents as well?
I don't know. We're just, at this point, the Kindle version just came out. We're still working on getting that print edition out. And we're in that excitement mode, and we're just going to see what happens.
Yeah, because just keep me in the line, because me and my wife are parents of twins.
I know that's what you said, and that's so exciting. Girls too, just like my book. I'm so excited to hear that.
Yeah, it's so nice. I mean, I still have to order your book and get it and see that, you know.
I appreciate that, Shawn.
Yeah, no, it's amazing journey, you know. So, like, actually, see here, one of my book is Get Published, Get Noticed. You know, I help people get published, so that, like, generally I'm helping them so that when they get published, they can be seen as an expert in their industry. They can promote themselves and they can promote their business. But forget my book. In that book, when I teach and tell people to write a book, there's something very special I tell them. So I'm going to ask you that, actually. So the question I was going to ask you is, like, generally when I'm telling people to write something, if you don't want to write a book, at least write a blog or just write a diary and just don't even show anybody. It doesn't matter you publish or not publish. Once you write, you're a writer.
Exactly.
So I tell them, during the process of writing a book, you will discover yourself, the different one, like not the same you. You grow out of your old one and you become a new person.
Yes.
So do you agree with me? Have you had those experiences over the years? Does it make you a different person?
Well, you certainly have different voices.
Uh-huh.
You know, I know 20 years ago I had a different voice when I wrote than I do now. Today I have a different voice. So I think that's true, that you do become a different person as a writer. In general, I don't think the person as Kim has changed, except maybe probably because I've raised children with chronic illnesses. I appreciate life and the little things more. I know that I have empathy for others more than I ever did before. So that, I don't know if that has anything to do with writing or not. Maybe it does, because that's what I wrote about for 7 or 8 years, and I actually interviewed and met the children of other mothers that I wrote about. So in that sense, I would say yes.
Because when you're getting exposed to those things or whatever you're planning to write, you're pondering upon those thoughts and you're thinking and going inside and you're bringing the content out. So in my opinion, you grow as a different, mature person. That's what I was trying to say.
I think you're right. And now with Babies of Two, you know, that's a book that's heartfelt with humor. So so definitely, you know, I see things in a different light. So I know from seeing these little newborns come home, and I certainly saw how much work it was, and then as they grew, I saw, you know, humorous sides to them. Even as infants, they would, you know, hit each other or take each other's pacifiers away from one another, or compete for attention, even as little infants. So you do see things in a different light, and certainly with writing about twins, it's a total different perspective. So yes, you're absolutely right.
Actually, before the interview, you was talking something like discovering your voice or finding your voice. What was that? Would you like to tell a little more detail to my listeners and viewers?
Well, about well, it's probably been 2 years now, but I had a respiratory illness, and for some unusual reason, it settled in my throat. After it was in my chest, it settled in my throat. So I completely lost my voice. And I was seeing a speech therapist and so forth. But before that, I could not talk at all. And I lost probably 40 pounds. I couldn't eat and I could not speak. So I started blogging, and that gave me a whole new voice in writing. And I wrote every day for probably a year and a half. And I still write today in my blog. And not as often as I did. I don't do it every day, but I keep it up probably several times a week. And I did find a whole new voice. It's not the same as writing a children's book like Babies of Two, but I write on nature and family and love, and I write about grandchildren and perspectives on life and chronic conditions and, a whole varied amount of topics. But it gives me an outlet. And I love blogging because it's kind of instant gratification, because you can sit down and write something. I get up in the morning and I never know what I'm going to write about. I sit at the desk and it just kind of comes to me. And you press publish and there it is. And then you get comments from people and you answer the comments. And like I said, it's kind of instant gratification.
So how do you compare like a old-fashioned writing the diary or journal or memoir and writing these blogs online?
Oh gosh. Well, I think blogging definitely is similar to the old-fashioned diary, except that it's public. It's for all the world to see. And probably you as the writer hold back from what you would probably write about in a diary. But it's very similar to a diary, I think, but it's a lot more fun.
So do you advise non-writers or the people who don't write blogging or don't write anything, do you think they should be writing diary or blogging or something? Does that help? Is this healthy mentally or something or anything?
I would advise any writer or non-writer for that matter to start with a blog, because it definitely helps you become a better writer. If I were to look back at my posts, they call them posts, from 3 years ago, they're probably horrible. I wouldn't want anyone to read them probably. But as you continue writing, the more you write, the better writer you become. So I would advise anybody who wants to become a writer or who even is a writer to start a blog. It definitely will help you. I'm a much, much better writer today than I was 3 years ago because of my blog.
Everything comes with practice, like I started this podcasting, so I'm so new. So 2 years from today, I will be a different person. So.
Yes, you're so fabulous now. Just think how you'll be 2 years from now.
Thank
You'll be winning all these kinds of awards, Shawn.
Come on, you are too kind. That's what you're saying,
No, it will happen.
Okay, unfortunately, we are very close to end of the show. But before I really end, I want to ask you, I'll be putting the links to most of your books online, to your blog and website and everything. But number one, do you recommend some books for the readers which are not written by you? Because your books will be published on my website. I mean, their references and links. Is there any other book which may have changed you or affected you or your life, your thinking or anything like that?
Oh gosh.
It can be business book, non-business book, children book, anything which is not your book and not published by your company.
Yeah. It's terrible, but I haven't had time to read in so long, and I know that's the worst advice for writers, because they should keep up their reading, but I haven't had time to read in so long. My favorite genre though is memoir. I love reading memoirs, true stories, nonfiction. I just adore nonfiction. Um, oh, I mean, there's so many out there, you know.
Okay. How about, would you like to recommend some habit for people to stay happy and productive, and just anything, any good habit for life?
Uh, I don't have a good answer. I'm being honest, Shawn. I don't have a
No.
good answer. There's so many. I mean, just go to the self-help section in any library or, brick and mortar store, Amazon.com. I mean, there's so many available. I've read countless books, and I do have tons of them. I'm looking at them on my shelf right now. And most of them, I've picked and chosen sections, and I haven't finished them because I'm always so busy, but there's so many, and they all have good things to say. They do. They all have good things to say. I think you have to pick and choose. Not everything is right for everyone.
Yes.
You have to pick and choose what is right for you.
And not only that, it depends what they are trying to pursue in their life.
Mm-hmm.
Like if somebody is trying to pursue a business and they are just reading happiness books, it's not a good match.
No. And, not everybody's in marketing.
Yeah.
So, that's not going to work for you. So again, you just have to pick and choose what's right for you.
Okay, how about, would you like to tell me where my listeners and viewers can connect with you? What is the best place and best way?
Probably my website at kimgosselin.com, or my blog at Kim Gosselin blog.
So do you also help people to get published, like in your new company, or not?
I really don't have time. I really don't have time. I opened the companies really primarily for my own books.
Very
I
good.
can answer questions, and I certainly am happy to do that. But I don't have time to actually publish books for other people. I really did it for my own books.
Okay, very nice. So thank you very much. It was very inspiring, and I'm sure some of my listeners and viewers will be doing something, following some of the paths you have followed in life. Maybe they will pursue their passion. So
Well, I hope so. I hope nothing ever stops anyone from pursuing their dreams, and just to not take any negative advice. Just go after their dreams and make it happen.
you guys have to take action, okay?
Right. Thank you so much, Shawn. I've enjoyed our time together
Okay.
today.
Thank you. Bye.
Do not throw that old phone away. Your trash may be hidden gold. We want your old device and will pay top dollar for it. Our process is as easy as 1, 2, 3. We offer no obligation sales. If you have a problem with the price that we gave you, we will return the device to you at no charge. Fast payment, free shipping, free data wipe, risk-free transaction. Buybackqueen.com.